wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do.
Hey, this is Zach Pasquarello. Good, how are you? Do you already have a box truck, or are you looking to buy one? You got specific questions, or what do you have in mind? Okay, so you got a truck from Ryder, 2018. It's got 400,000 miles on it. Do you have the truck already, or are you still processing the paperwork? You already have your LLC? Okay, so already got your LLC, already have your business checking account. Do you just want me to kind of walk through like step by step what I recommend, or do you have specific questions? Similar to your LLC, you also need your EIN. Business credit cards. You can also get one from American Express and one from Capital One. I got an $8,000 credit limit from Amex and a $2,000 credit limit from Capital One. Just other options. Do you have a fuel card? Okay, so the thing with the fuel card is I always recommend to pair your fuel card and your factoring company. I didn't do it at first. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I really think it ends up saving you a lot of money in the long run, because a lot of factoring companies will give you a 0.5% discount on their factoring services if you use the fuel card that they offer. And a lot of fuel cards are really similar. Love's, TA, Pilot, Flying J. I mean, they're all pretty similar fuel cards, but the big advantage is that you get that extra factoring fee discount. Yeah, I've heard of Apex, like Apex Capital. Yeah, I've never worked with Apex. I know RTS and OTR are also good factoring companies, but I just looked at Apex, their website, and I'm pretty sure they also have a fuel card that they partner with. So once you get set up with Apex Factoring, maybe just ask them what fuel card do they use and can you get set up. And then you need an Easy Pass if you don't have one. I mean, you don't need an Easy Pass, but it definitely makes your life easier, no pun intended, if you're driving through like cities or like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, just states that have a lot of toll roads. I always recommend get the Easy Pass sooner rather than later, because it'll take 2 to 3 weeks for the transponder to come in the mail. So it's something you want to do ahead of time. That way you have it whenever you're ready to run. Yeah, for the Easy Pass. Yeah, you want to make sure you get that as soon as possible. I would get a separate account, but you know, that's up to you. I always like to keep business and personal as separate as possible. And then you also need an electronic login device. So similar to an Easy Pass, an electronic login device, it's going to take probably 2 to 3 weeks for your ELD to come in the mail. So you need to get like a little GPS tracker, like a little box, a little computer box that's going to go in your truck. It comes with wires and you hook it up to your truck. It's pretty easy, but you want to do it sooner rather than later because it takes 2 to 3 weeks for the stuff to come in the mail. Yes, yeah, the ELD is separate from your Easy Pass. Easy Pass just pays for tolls. Your ELD is like a DOT compliance thing. No, you're not going to get it from the government. You're going to get it from a private company. I use Keep Truckin'. They're not called Go Motive, but they used to be called Keep Truckin', and that's who I got my ELD from. I see a lot of other owner-operators use Go Motive for their ELD. It's like $40 a month, which really isn't bad, and it's a requirement. Like if you're traveling over the road or more than 150 miles away from your business, then you have to have an electronic logging device. So either way, you need to have it. And then you can also get a dash cam. I did not get a dash cam for my first truck, but I think looking back on it, I would have. I got a dash cam for my second truck. It's just in case of an accident or in case anything ever happens, you've got a camera facing the road, so you can pull footage and you can see what happened. And the dash cam, I think, is $30 a month. So ELD and dash cam altogether $70 a month. Yes, so none of that will give you directions. So for the GPS, you can get, I've heard of 3 good places to get your GPS. You can get your GPS from Rand McNally. They're like a long-term map. They've been making maps for a long time, and now they make GPS. And Rand McNally also does ELDs. So you can get your ELD from Rand McNally, but I don't know much about them. I only know about Keep Truckin', but I know Rand McNally does have a good GPS. They're a little bit more expensive, but I've heard they're really good. You can also get a GPS from Garmin. They're like $300 one time, or you can get an application on like a tablet or your phone. It's called Keep. Trucker Path is a GPS. It's like $10 or $12 a month. So it's cheap up front, but there is that monthly recurring fee. So with the Garmin, you're going to spend $300 one time and you're done. And it has GPS. Trucker Path is going to be like $10 or $12 a month, and you can have it on your phone or like a tablet, and that'll help you avoid roads that are too narrow or bridges that are too low, or that'll just help you avoid roads that are not travelable with a truck. Yeah. So if you're going to hire a driver, what I did is I got an iPad. I went to a local Verizon store, and for $40 a month, I got an iPad. And the iPad is great because you can put your Keep Truckin' ELD, the login, you can put that on the iPad. You can put the Trucker Path GPS on the iPad. and you can send text messages to the iPad. And also, your driver can take pictures of the bill of lading with the iPad, which is really nice because then he can just text them to you or the dispatcher. That way, he's not really using his personal phone for anything related to the business. He doesn't need an iPad, but it's worked really well for me. I recommend it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be brand new, but if you go, just go to your local Verizon store, or you can get it on Amazon. The one thing though, you're going to want to get cellular data on the iPad so that he can use GPS and he can send text messages. And you're going to want cellular data or internet for the iPad. And you don't have to get an iPad. You can get like an Android tablet or like a different tablet. I really like Apple products, so just personal preference, I went with the iPad. And $40 a month, like, it's really not that expensive. Yeah, you will be able to track your driver through the electronic logging device. So you can log in on your computer or on your phone, and you can see where your driver is at any point in time. You can see how fast he's going, you can see how much fuel he has, like, you can see a lot of information from your electronic logging device, which is really nice. For paying your drivers, you're not going to use a factoring company. You have two options. You can pay your driver as an independent contractor, or you can pay your driver as an employee. Technically, so the difference is an independent contractor is someone who technically has their own tools and equipment, has their own schedule, kind of shows up when they tell you they're going to show up. So if you think about it, if you hire a repairman to fix your toilet, you're not going to give him a toolbox. You're not going to tell him, hey, be at my house at 8 a.m. on Monday morning to fix my toilet. He's going to tell you, okay, I'll be there Tuesday at 12 p.m. I'm going to bring my own tools. I know how to do it. So that's an independent contractor. But an employee is someone who you say, hey, show up to work at 8 a.m. Here's your uniform. Here's the keys to the truck. Here's your iPad. Here's all of your equipment. You are my employee. I tell you what to do. You work for me, and I'm going to pay you like a W-2 employee. So technically, if you hire a driver, they would be a W-2 employee. But there's a lot of extra things that come along with having a W-2 employee. You need to have workers' compensation insurance, which for truck drivers is insanely expensive. It starts at 5% and it'll go up if you have claims. You need to pay for payroll tax, which is 7%. And by percentage, I mean 5 and 7% of his wages. So if you pay him $100, you're going to pay an additional $5 in workers' comp insurance. You're going to pay an additional $7 in payroll tax. So if he is an independent contractor, you don't technically need to have workers' comp insurance, and he pays for his own tax. And on top of that, you need to pay a third-party company to process your payroll, which ends up being $25 a week or $50 every time you process payroll. So there's just a lot of extra things that go into it. And finally, if you ever want to fire this driver, then if you just fire him because he's not a good employee without a good reason, then he could potentially file for unemployment compensation. So if he's an employee and you fire him, he might be eligible to receive unemployment. And that would just mean that you need to pay even more. So if he's an independent contractor and you fire him, no strings attached, you don't technically need to give him any unemployment. But with all that being said, it's not technically the right thing to do to hire a full-time employee as an independent contractor. But what you can do, and this is what I did, for the first 2 to 3 months, you can hire him on as a contractor, just kind of a 3-month contract, part-time almost, short-term, and just wait until you see if it's a good fit, and if he's a good driver for you, then you can hire him on full-time and start running payroll once you kind of know that he's been with you for 2 or 3 months and you want to keep him. So that's what I would recommend doing. I think that would be the best bet for you, hiring a new driver as an independent contractor and then transition to full-time payroll W-2 employee after 2 to 3 months. Technically, the only paperwork you need from an independent contractor is a W-9. W-9 is a form that you can get straight from the IRS website, and the only information it has is you just ask for his name, his address, and his social security number. If he's an LLC or a company, you'll get his EIN, but chances are he's just a regular person with a social security number, and with that W-9, that enables you to give him a 1099 at the end of the year, which is so incredibly important. You need to get a W-9 from an independent contractor before you pay him anything, because then at the end of the year, you're going to give him a 1099. And that 1099 is basically just a tax document that he then files his taxes with. It's just proof of payment. You're telling the IRS, hey, I paid Joe Smith $50,000 last year. Here's his 1099. Here's proof of payment. That way he can then file his taxes and pay taxes on that $50,000. That's technically the only document you need. But I always recommend get some type of independent contractor agreement. So just outline anything that you potentially that might happen, like payment terms, like how often are you going to pay him? How are you going to pay him? Just in that document outline that it's his responsibility to take care of the truck. Any damage to the truck could potentially result in like delayed payment for him. Just he needs to communicate with you on a daily basis. He needs to let you know when he gets to the shipper and when he leaves the receiver. Just like try to think of any and all details that might come up that might be an issue with you being a business owner or hiring someone to drive around a truck that costs, potentially $70,000 or $80,000. So just come up with like a legal document, an independent contractor agreement. You can go to rocketlawyer.com and probably get a good template, but just come up with some legal document and have him sign it that just kind of clearly communicates all of the rules, the guidelines, and the expectations and the company policies. You do not need to do a drug test, no. You only need to do a drug test if you have a CDL truck. Real quick, I want to touch on one other thing with the driver, and that's his DOT medical physical. So your driver needs to have an up-to-date DOT medical physical. And it's not just like some random physical. It's not just like your standard physical that he can get from his family doctor. He has to go to a DOT approved doctor or nurse and get a DOT medical physical. Yeah, so first of all, have you already applied for your authority? Okay, just be careful hiring someone to do it for you, because it's pretty easy. And you can do it for $300. Like it's only going to cost you $300 if you do it on your own. So I don't know how much someone else is charging you to do it for you, but it's pretty easy. So so they're going to charge you $800. But it only costs you $300. So you're going to pay them $500 to do this for you. It only takes 1 hour. So I'm just being upfront with you. Like you could do it yourself and you could save $500. Okay. So DOT and MC number costs $300 to do it yourself. UCR costs $65 to do it yourself, and BOC3 costs $25 to do it yourself. You can fill out the paperwork for your DOT number and your MC number in less than an hour, straight on the FMCSA website, and you can fill out the paperwork for your UCR and your BOC3 in less than 5 minutes, like straight on the government website. So all in all, it's going to cost you $400 to do it yourself, or you can pay someone else $800 to do it for you, and it's only going to take you an hour to do all three things. If you want, I can send you, after this phone call, I can send you the link for the UCR, the link for the BOC3, which are two things you can do immediately after you get your DOT number, and then I can send you a YouTube video that one of my friends made, and it's just a 45-minute tutorial on how to apply for your DOT and MC number, and you can do it all yourself, and you can save $400. Okay, so now you were talking about your insurance. I want to circle back on that. So you don't need a driver to sign up for insurance. So all you need to have is, you need to have a driver's license and you need a truck. You need the VIN number of the truck, and then you can contact an insurance agent and you can get insurance for the truck. And then every driver you hire after that, so anybody operating your truck needs to be put on your insurance. So contact your insurance agent, contact your insurance company, and as soon as you hire a new driver, just give them, a picture or the information from your new driver's license. Yeah, I mean, if you hire like some 18-year-old kid with 5 accidents on his record, they will charge you more for your insurance. Yeah, and then the nice thing about having an insurance agent is you can always get a quote. So you can always give them your new driver's insurance information or driver's license information, and then ask like how is this going to affect my insurance policy? Is it going to make it go up or down? And then you can basically get a quote, and you can do all that before you even hire the kids. Like if it's going to raise your insurance by $30,000 a year, probably don't want to hire him. And then I have a local insurance company in Pennsylvania, and they specialize in trucking. After this phone call, I'll send you an email with all their information. No, I'm in Pennsylvania. How long until you buy another truck? Well, first of all, I think you should make sure this first truck is profitable. Yeah, so make sure you're able to actually make money on this truck. Figure out how much money you're making, whether it's $100 a week or $1,000 a week. Figure out how much money your business is making after you pay for all of your expenses. And I would wait to buy another truck until you save up enough money for your next down payment. So if you're going to get a loan, if you're going to buy a truck for $80,000 and they require 20% down payment, I would wait until your business saves up $16,000 cash to buy a second truck as that down payment. I would not recommend buying a truck that's 2010 or 2011. I would try to buy something 2016 or newer. So like I wouldn't recommend buying a truck older than 6 years, just because down the road you're going to spend a lot of money on maintenance and repairs, and things are going to get broken. You're going to have downtime. You're going to lose money. You're not going to make as much money. I always recommend just get as new and good of a truck as financially possible. IRS heavy vehicle use tax is only applicable to CDL trucks. If I were you, I would pay your driver a percentage of revenue. So if you're going to have a driver go over the road in a box truck, first of all, you're going to have to pay something for hotels because he's not going to be technically allowed to sleep in the truck. So first of all, you're going to have to pay for hotels. So you can do it multiple different ways. You can give him just like a daily stipend. Like you can give him like 50 or 75 bucks a day to pay for a hotel. Or you could give him a credit card, like a company credit card, and say, hey, just use this to book your hotels. Or he could book the hotels himself and you can reimburse him. Or you could pick out the hotels for him and say, hey, I booked this hotel. You're going to stop here and sleep here tonight. The easiest way to do it is just to give him a $75 stipend per day for the hotels, per night that he's over the road. And then on top of that, you can pay him % of revenue. So you can pay him cents per mile, but I don't like that. It's more complicated. You have to factor in deadhead and just extra miles that he's driving. So I would always recommend just pay him a percentage of revenue, and like somewhere between 20 and 25% is probably a good number for revenue. So like if it's a new driver with no experience, maybe 20%. If he has a little bit of experience, maybe like 23, 24%, but don't go higher than 25% if you're including the $75 for the hotel. Yeah, I do bookkeeping and taxes. Yeah, I've got the QuickBooks course and I think it's like $59. I don't have a discount code. You do not need any formal training to be a dispatcher. It's not a complicated job. It just takes a lot of time and perseverance. You're essentially like a salesman being a dispatcher. It's like you're going to be doing a lot of calls. You're going to be talking to a lot of people, a lot of negotiation, a lot of emails. So the dispatcher, you don't need any formal training. All you need is a subscription to the DAT load board. And just prepare to spend 2 to 4 hours every single day dispatching your truck. So there are good paying loads out there, but they're hard to find and they take a lot of time to find, and they take talking to the right people, building relationships. So you're gonna go through 30 or 40 loads every single day and you're gonna get turned down on 29 of them, and then you're gonna find that one load that's paying $2.50 a mile, and that's the load you're gonna take. Or you can take if you only want to make 5 phone calls, you're going to find a load that's paying $1.50 a mile, and your business is going to fail. In 2 months, you're not going to make any money. So you just got to put in the time. Don't pay $5,000 for a dispatching course. Just get a subscription to the DAT load board and call 50 brokers every single day. You want to do a credit check on every broker before you work with them. You don't need to call your factoring company. Your factoring company should have a website where you just type in the broker's MC number or the name of the broker into your factoring company credit check, and then they will tell you if they are good or bad. Yeah, I'm going to send you an email with instructions on how to apply for your authority, the website for BOC3, the website for UCR. I'm going to send you my factoring company. I'm going to send you my dispatcher, and I'm going to send you my insurance company. That way you just have all of the resources you need if you ever need help.